turn. We make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening and viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. As you know, Dr. Lee Cowden and I just completed a wonderful workshop, the M3 Detox Experience, and Dr. Lee Cowden is a world-renowned doctor, cardiologist, integrative physician who was a cardiologist, and he has been responsible for teaching tens of thousands of practitioners how to be holistic, functional, integrative, natural, you name it. He's been there. Well, we just finished in December of last year, the M3 Detox Experience, and it was phenomenal. It's still available. If you want to purchase it, you can go to whenyouneedafriend.com to learn more. Well, today, Dr. Lee has agreed, because of a family emergency that I have, he agreed to come early so that we record and premiere this class today, because he is that wonderful. So he got up really early this morning so that I could be with my mom. And so for those of you who know Dr. Lee Cowden, you will be excited that he's on. And for those of you who have never met Dr. Lee Cowden, you will be amazed at the information that you will learn today. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Lee Cowden is here to do just that. Welcome, Dr. Lee. Welcome to the classroom. I'm so grateful for you. I am grateful that you're here. So thank you so much, Dr. Lee.
Great to be on.
Yeah. So it's been since December 6th since we were seeing each other every week for 12 weeks with the M3 Detox Experience. And I will tell you, I have truly missed you. And I am excited that you're here today to talk about electropollution. And so what is the difference between electropollution, electrosmog, and EMFs?
Different words for the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, most people don't realize that they're swimming in a sea of electropollution or electrosmog, because it's not detectable by our usual five senses. So you usually have to have a meter. Most people have to have a meter to know that they're being affected by the electrosmog or electropollution. And there are people in the environment, people in our country that can sense EMF. They can walk into a room, they can say, there's too much of a certain frequency in here. That's about 5% of the population. But there's about 30 or 40% of the population that are having symptoms because they're exposed to electropollution or electrosmog that don't recognize that those symptoms are coming from electropollution or electrosmog.
Interesting. So what are some of those symptoms, Dr. Lee?
Fatigue, insomnia, headaches, muscle aches, joint aches, cardiac arrhythmias, digestive disorders. So there's all kinds of things that can show up from the from the electropollution that that most allopathic doctors don't recognize as coming from the electropollution. So the patient goes to the allopathic doctor says, "Oh, well, you have this pharmaceutical drug deficiency. Let me give you a prescription."
That's what usually happens. So,
Yeah.
okay, but how do you eliminate? Because it would be easy for a doctor to say, "Oh, it's EMFs. Oh, it's EMFs." How do you eliminate the fact that the lack of sleep isn't stress or poor nutrition? How do you eliminate that? If I were to go, let's say I've had issues waking up every so often. How do I know that that's not an organ that is malfunctioning versus electropollution?
In the summertime, you would take your camping mattress and your camping tent, and you would go out a long way away from any kind of civilization, and you'd camp overnight. And if you sleep fine there, and then you come back to your home and you can't sleep, there's a good chance that it's from the electropollution.
Interesting. So camping is important. I know a lot of people have been glamping. Is that the same? Like going out there and you still have a car or a vehicle or a truck that has the modern technologies that bring it. So you're saying take a tent, go out in the woods when there's no protection and sleep the whole night? I don't know if I could do that, Dr. Lee.
Well, some people have become sensitive to the electropollution coming from their vehicle. So the very worst is electric cars, and the second worst is hybrid cars. And the least problematic are the old gasoline or diesel powered cars. Mm-hmm. Okay. But, you can get a Gauss meter and measure inside your car and figure out how much you're getting zapped from that. But a lot of the present cars have a GPS system that's on all the time, and it's sending a signal to the clouds and saying, "Here I am, here I am, here I am." And every time it sends a signal, that signal goes not only to the clouds, but through your body and through your brain.
So do you suggest, okay, so my original question is, okay, how do I eliminate the possibility that lifestyle, nutrition, stress, whatever it is causing the problem? Do you do that first, or do you suggest that you go into the woods and eliminate the electropollution right off the bat?
The latter, probably.
It would be the cheapest one, right?
Well, there's so many potential causes, like dysbiosis in your gut, fungus in your paranasal sinuses, heavy metal pollution, pesticide and herbicide pollution, blah, blah. There's too many other possibilities to eliminate all of those. So why not just eliminate the one obvious and see what happens?
Okay. So I want to go back because as a cardiologist, and you're classically trained as a medical doctor, for people that this is maybe the first time that they're hearing this is maybe the first time that they're seeing you, because we have listeners from all over the world at different times, that maybe they're a new person. Or share a little bit about your background and how you became fascinated by anything other than allopathic medicine. So share a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I was raised in arid West Texas, and I got accepted to medical school in Houston, and I wasn't used to the grass and the weeds and the trees and the mold and the fungus and the high humidity. And so when I had been in Houston only for a short time, I developed allergic rhinitis, then allergic sinusitis, then infective sinusitis, then bronchitis, and then pneumonia. And I was getting worse and worse each week. And I went to the chairman of the allergy and immunology department first, then the chairman of the ear, nose, and throat department second, then the chairman of the pulmonary department third. And I followed their advice, took the drugs that they prescribed, and got progressively worse. And, thank goodness my wife's grandmother came to visit us. She was a school teacher, a self-taught nutritionist. She had pity on what she saw in front of her, me, and took me to the health food store and got me on some vitamins, minerals, and herbs. And I got well in less than a month. And I thought, oh my goodness, I need to learn what this woman knows, and I need to take with a grain of salt everything that I learned in the training institution after this. So whenever I had any time to study, I didn't study medical textbooks and medical journals. I studied books on nutrition, books on Western herbs, books on Eastern herbs, books on fixed magnetic therapies, books on pulsed electromagnetic therapies, books on subconscious emotional conflict resolution, blah, blah, blah.
And acupuncture, and I mean,
lots of stuff. Yeah.
I have said this so many times. I don't think I could come to you where you wouldn't know the answer. It's like I picture you, because you are a busy man, and I know that people like me and people that love you tremendously, the first line of defense is, what would Dr. Lee say about this? And even last night when we had our conversation about my mom, you had some solutions for rapid bone healing, which I am just so grateful to you. I sent all the information to my sister so that we can start the protocol with my mom, with was magnesium citrate and vitamin D, and what was the other one? The drops of
magnesium ascorbate, actually.
Magnesium ascorbate, and the drops.
Vitamin D and
K2.
Vitamin K2.
Yep, K2
are the most important things.
Yeah.
But the ascorbic acid is a cofactor for the synthesis of collagen. Collagen is the building block for bone, and a lot of people take a bunch of calcium whenever they get a fracture. But what they don't recognize is that the calcium is already in excess in their body because of the electroflooding, the pollution, what they call the calcium flooding of the cells because of electropollution. And so they're actually making their situation worse, not better.
Wow, it's amazing. And just recently, Dr. Lee helped with a family member who had a stroke and has the start of an aneurysm, or maybe a small aneurysm, and he was able to get him off all the medications that he was put on, and he is doing well. I'm happy to report that to you, Dr. Lee. I'm so grateful to you. And by the way, that particular coaching session that we did together, I put it up on YouTube, and they striked me for it, and it was on unlisted, so nobody had seen it, and they gave me a strike. And so I think it was because your name was on it. So I need to know that if your name is on it, they're going to review it, because this is information that the 1% doesn't want you to know, but you're going to get it here. And chances are this class will not remain on YouTube. This will be uploaded into BitChute and Odyssey, as it always does. So if you don't find it on BitChute or Odyssey, if you don't find it on YouTube or Facebook, just know that BitChute and Odyssey is where you will find them. So Dr. Lee, you had mentioned that electrosmog, EMFs, electropollution, they're all the same thing. We talked about what are some of the symptoms, the signs, but now let's talk about, how do we take our life back? Because if we're driving in cars that have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, if we're by our phones 24/7, what are some of the things that we can do that are practical, that we can start eliminating some of these assaults to our body that are unseen?
Well, related to your car, you can disable the Bluetooth and the GPS. Well, I don't know if you can, but a mechanic should be able to. And if the mechanic at your shop that you usually go to can't, then take it to a shop that specializes in electronics. Okay, because sometimes they'll have somebody there that knows how to disable the thing. But you're zapping yourself unnecessarily. The very worst place that you can zap yourself is while you're in bed at night. Okay, and when we sleep, our brain is supposed to slow down to a rate of 0.1 to 3 cycles per second. Okay, that's called delta wave. And if you don't slow down into 0.1 to 3 cycles per second, you don't heal your physical body while you sleep. if you're being exposed to high frequency electropollution, or even the low frequency that you get from wall current and electrical appliances by your bed, that will cause your brain to go to start functioning at 60 hertz, which is the the electrical appliances next to your bed, or the electric wiring at the head of your bed, or at a few hundred or a few thousand cycles per second, which is your Wi-Fi and your cordless phone and your radio frequency burglar alarm system and the electric smart meter on the side of your house and so on. So all of those will entrain your brain into a higher frequency that prevents you from having physical healing while you sleep, because you don't ever get into delta wave sleep. Okay. Now, we're supposed to have 3 episodes of delta wave sleep, about 30 minutes long each, during the course of a night. And immediately after each one of those episodes of delta wave sleep, we usually have an episode of REM sleep, rapid eye movement dream sleep. If you don't get the rapid eye movement dream sleep, then you don't heal your psyche while you're in bed. So you become crazy over time. And we see a lot of people in the country that are crazy right now. And that's one of the reasons. Okay. Now, we need to be getting delta wave sleep every night, at least 3 episodes, and we need to be getting REM sleep every night, at least 3 episodes, in order to heal our physical body and our psyche. And the other thing that happens when we sleep, if we sleep out in the woods, in a camping tent, on a camping mattress, is our brain will go from sympathetic excess into parasympathetic excess. Now, sympathetic excess is what happens when you're running from a tiger or fighting a tiger. Okay. Parasympathetic is what happens when you eat and digest, take a nap, or go to sleep. Okay. It's the relaxation part of your autonomic or automatic nervous system. And you can't heal your physical body unless you're in parasympathetic dominance. So if this is your sympathetic over here on this side, the top one here, and this is your parasympathetic during the day, if you maintain that during the night, you don't heal your physical body. Okay. You got to shift to like that. So there's a dominance of the parasympathetic over the sympathetic. So the sympathetic is figuratively taking a nap, and the parasympathetic is dominant over the sympathetic. Okay. And so that's the three main things that should happen while you're sleeping. But if you live in a city or you live in a town, I can guarantee you it's not happening. Okay. Because you have, you might turn off your Wi-Fi and unplug your cordless phone and disconnect the smart meter from your house and get rid of the radio frequency burglar alarm system and replace it with a hardwired burglar alarm system. But can you get your neighbors to all do the same thing?
No.
If you go into your bedroom and you open up your laptop computer, how many Wi-Fi signals can you pick up? 6, 8, a dozen, 2 dozen. It depends on where you live. But if it's more than one, which is yours, it's too much. Okay. And so you're not going to be able to get those folks to go all turn their systems off at the time of the night that you want to go to sleep, because usually they stay up till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and you need to be in bed at going to sleep at 9 p.m. So how are you going to fix that? The only way to fix that is to shield yourself from the EMF pollution that's coming in. Okay. Now, you can make an effort to do that living in the city or the town, or you can move into the countryside like I did. So I'm 25 miles from town, and that's why my internet connection is not that great. But
And you said that just as your voice pixelated. So I always tease Dr. Lee about that his internet is driven by a hamster on a wheel. And if the hamster takes a little break, then his internet goes off. But you know what?
Yeah.
You probably sleep much better than all of us combined.
Oh, yeah. No, my physiological age is about 20 years younger than my stated chronological age. And
Interesting.
there's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is because I've shielded myself from electropollution for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. I bought my first canopy to go over my bed in 2004. Okay. So that's quite a few years. Before that, I was living out in the countryside. I lived in Alito, Texas, which is was out in the sticks. I lived in Van Alstyne, Texas, which is I lived outside of Van Alstyne, Texas, which is definitely out in the sticks. And so I didn't really need a canopy over my bed until I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Was living, next door to lots of people that had Wi-Fi on all night long. And my wife's developed atrial fibrillation, and I thought, oh my goodness, it looks like electropollution has finally caught up with us. So I bought our first canopy and put it over our bed, and put a same type of EMF shielded material underneath the bed, and allowed the cloth from the ceiling to touch the cloth on the floor. So I had a complete enclosure. I was sleeping inside of a Faraday cage, and my wife was sleeping there with me. And that improved the situation, but it didn't resolve the atrial fibrillation. And then I realized that she had also become sensitive to low frequency electropollution, which was coming from the electrical circuits in the wall of the head of the bed. And even though I unplugged all the electrical appliances in the bedroom, we were still getting zapped from the electrical circuits, because in the United States, it's very rare to find an electrician that'll put those electric wires inside of metal conduits, which is what they should do. But instead, it's just out there in the wall, And so I had to go turn off the master breaker for the house and take a reading again with my Gauss meter that's about this size and this shape. And so I took a reading at the top corner of the bed this way, and then this way, and then this way. That's called the X, Y, and Z axis readings. And then I did that on all four corners of the bed, and they should all be 0.2 milligauss or less if you want to have sleep. Okay, but it was like 20. It wasn't a little bit high. It was 200. It was 100 times what it should be.
Wow.
Okay?
And that was with your canopy or before you got the canopy?
No, it was with the canopy on top of the bed.
Wow.
Okay? And so I was getting zapped from the electrical circuits in the walls. And so I went to the breaker box and turned the master breaker box off. And then I took the X, Y, and Z axis reading again on the places where it was high before, and it was normal. And I said, oh, good. All the problems coming from inside my house. And so then I went back and turned the master breaker back on, and I started turning little individual breakers off one at a time. If any one of the individual breakers would cause the reading to go down, I would leave that one off. If I turn a breaker off and it didn't make any difference, I'd turn that one back on. So I had to turn 4 breakers off to be able to reduce the low frequency electropollution to my bedroom. The one for the bedroom itself, the one for the master bath immediately adjacent to the bedroom, the one for the room on the other side of the wall from the head of the bed, and the one from the kitchen ceiling that was right below us, right below the bed.
Wow.
Okay.
Even
So
with the shield that you put underneath the bed, the fan underneath it was causing the problem?
The silver impregnated cloth that the canopy and the material under the bed was made from is not intended to shield you from low frequency electropollution. It shields you from high frequency electropollution like you get from Wi-Fi, cordless phones, radio frequency burglar alarm systems, smart meters, etc. Not from electrical appliances plugged in beside your bed, not from the electrical wire that's in the wall behind your head of your bed. So every night at bedtime, I had to turn off 4 breakers and make sure that the curtains around my bed were closed, overlapping, and no gaps. And then we slept great. And the atrial fibrillation, my wife, went away.
Interesting. So because of that experience and being a cardiologist, did that make you aware of how that affected the rhythm of our heart as well?
Yeah, well, I'd already read an article prior to that that said that electropollution could be a factor in cardiac arrhythmias. not in a lamestream media and not in a regular allopathic journal, but in a alternative medicine journal. And I thought, well, I need to rule out that first, because that's the easiest one to fix.
Yeah, I would say.
And so I fixed that, and the problem went away. I said, okay, well, that's pretty good proof that that's what it was.
So with people that are, I mean, more and more we're hearing about people having AFib and getting surgery for that. And that's dangerous surgery right there. So what I'm hearing you say, if they don't solve this electropollution problem, which could be just an outlet or a breaker that needs to be shut down, the AFib will return and the surgery will be in vain.
That's right. That's very likely the case. And not only that, but the radio frequency ablation that they do, or the other types of ablation that they do, create a scar in the heart.
Yes.
And usually around the scar are vulnerable cells, what we call irritable cells. And so they're the ones that are going to start firing off again prematurely whenever wherever you go back home into your electropolluted environment.
Amazing. I know so many people that have been having issues with AFib, and they keep having the ablation done. It is dangerous, and it has long-term consequences as well that aren't discussed by the doctor. We just want the problem to go away. But what if the problem was as simple as that? As turning off your breakers and shielding your bed. I just want to make sure that this information gets out. I want to all encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Please subscribe to the channel. And also just know that we are live on Twitter, Telegram, on the website, Facebook, and YouTube, whenever YouTube allows me to be a guest on their page, especially if I keep compliant. And so I just want you to understand that we believe that problems can be out of our control. And that's why we rely on the white coat, and the white coat syndrome keeps us there going, I hear and obey. But what if you took your health back? What if you tried this experiment? What if you got like a Gauss meter to see what's going on in your life? So go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Please subscribe, share this link with everybody, like and follow me on all social media, and make sure that you are doing everything that you can to make sure that the algorithms, we stay above the algorithms and we share this information. I want to encourage you to go to my sponsors page, support my sponsors, that they are that they are 100% helping the classroom, and so is your generosity when you become an enrolled student in the classroom. So make sure you support our sponsors like they are supporting the classroom. Go to our Shop Now bag. Those are all other different ways that you could support the classroom. When you purchase something from the Shop Now bag, most of it is an affiliate program where you get a discount and it helps the classroom grow. So everything from head to toe, whether it's makeup or pain management, it's all natural, and it will help you heal your body naturally. And like I said earlier, you can become an enrolled student in the classroom, whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month, whether it's a one payment or a reoccurring payment. Everything that you can do, whether it's your time, your talent, your treasure, is very appreciated. When I say your time, you can just share this video, and that is a way that you can help. If you say, well, I don't have any treasure to share, a way that you can share and help the classroom grow is by sharing this video, putting up a thumbs up, making a comment, whatever you can to help the classroom grow. I will be very grateful for. And as you know, Dr. Lee Cowden is a regular in the classroom. We did the M3 Detox Experience together. He is amazing. He guided us for 12 weeks. That is still available in the classroom. You can go to drleecowden.com and you can support him the way that he has supported all of us by sharing this information that is very difficult to find. So Dr. Lee, I'm so grateful to you, and I'm grateful that you got up early today to be able to record this program that is most important. Especially, I'm sure that half the people that have been experiencing palpitations or AFib or any problem sleeping or digestive disorders are really tuning in right now to what you have to say. Other than shielding with a Faraday cage, well, before I ask that question, is there anything that you're doing that you would like to, for us to promote today that you want us to know that's going on? Because I know that you did a course on muscle testing just recently with Dr. Jennifer Gramuth was there. Is there anything that you have in the works that's happening soon?
Well, yeah, it's not happening very soon, but in the fall sometime we're going to have another class workshop on muscle testing. You know, when you learn muscle testing, you can not be flying. I call it flying blind. Okay. When you learn muscle testing, you can actually determine what's going on in your body. You can determine what treatments would likely help, what dosing of treatment would likely help, and not be continuing to just guess. What most allopathic doctors do is what I call WAG medicine, WAG medicine, wild ass guess medicine. Okay. So that's not the way to go. You know, if you can guide yourself with interject testing, and muscle testing being the least expensive to do and not that difficult to learn, then you can get there faster. But at some point on our other website that you didn't mention, acimconnect.com.
I didn't know that was available. Okay.
Yeah, we will have information on there when we finally get that the venue nailed down for the muscle testing class in the fall. We're wanting to have it in the area of Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know if that'll happen, but we have a backup plan to have it in Dallas if we can't find a venue in Atlanta, Georgia.
What about Florida?
It's up to you. If you're willing to take the time to find a venue and all that, then maybe that will work.
Okay.
But I want if you'll enable my video capability for a moment, I want to show people that are watching something, just a couple of pictures that will, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. So
I will. Hold on a second. There you go. All is possible. Whatever Dr. Lee wants, Dr. Lee gets. Here we go.
Yeah. So lots of people use cell phones, and lots of people are actually still putting it up to their ear to talk on the cell phone. But you can see from these images that that's a really bad idea, because on the far right is on the far right is an adult that's put the cell phone up to their ear for 5 minutes, and then they take a thermal image of the brain and see how much damage there is going on in the brain. But the 10-year-old through the brain, and 5-year-old child who has the thinnest skull, it goes almost completely through the brain. Now, that there's a way to protect yourself to a degree. So, like if you want to have a semi-private conversation with somebody and you can't predict what they're going to say, and people around you, you don't want the people around you to hear what they're going to say, you get a safe sleeve. So a safe sleeve is on this phone that I have in my hand, and I'll show that in a minute when they have the larger screen. Mm-hmm. But you have a flap that goes in front of your phone that has the same material in the flap as the canopy that goes over your bed. So you're shielding the EMF that's coming out the front side of the phone by 98%. So you go from 100% down to 2% electropollution of your brain, and that helps. Now, it's even better to put the phone on speakerphone mode and put it out at arm's length and shout at it. But this is the safe sleeve here on this phone, and she's got the flap in front of the phone, as she should, and she has that side of the phone up against her ear. If you're carrying this in your pocket, that side that's against her ear right now is what needs to go against your body. If it doesn't, you're zapping whatever part of your body that this phone was on. I had colon cancer in 1994, and I had a cell phone on my left waist 16 hours a day. And that was one of the primary causes of the development of the colon cancer.
Wow.
And so I'm speaking from experience here.
Yeah.
I didn't have a safe sleeve in that year, so I just gave my phone to the receptionist. And I said, "You answer the phone during the day. I'm not going to keep that poison on my body." Okay. And so people say, well, there's no science behind this, but actually there's in just this one website, bioinitiative.org, there's 5,200 peer-reviewed articles from the literature showing the harmful effects on the human body from electropollution. Not just a couple, but 5,200. Okay. And on ehtrust.org, there's another several hundred. Okay. So this is the last slide I want to show, but well, maybe if there's another one after that, I'll show it. But this one is a rat brain on the left that was never exposed to a cell phone. Okay. And the one on the right is the brain of a rat that was exposed to a cell phone for 2 hours, 50 days before the rat was sacrificed to make this slide.
Wow.
And those black spots on that brain on the right are islands of dead necrotic brain tissue. Okay, so you say, well, I've never used a cell phone for 2 hours. It's additive and cumulative. So if you've ever used a cell phone up against your ear for 2 hours in your entire lifetime collectively, then that's what your brain looks like on the right. And we wonder why we have so much dementia in the United States. Well, there you go.
Amazing.
This is an interesting one. About low frequency electropollution. I had a husband and wife that came to see me as patients. They wanted a new patient, well patient check. And when I did dark field microscopy on their blood, it showed that they both had cancer that they didn't know that they had. And so I said, well, what's the cause of that? They were both working outside the home, happy with their jobs. They were happy with their marriage, happy with the 2 children they had. No emotional stress in their life, no significant chemical exposure. They were eating very cleanly. And so I thought, well, maybe it's electropollution. So I had the building biologist go to their house and take readings over their bed, and it was 100 times normal, 100 times normal. And so he unplugged the radio alarm clock on either side of their bed, and he unplugged the television at the foot of the bed, about 2 feet from their feet, and the readings went to almost normal. So he called me from their house, and I said, tell them to keep those things unplugged, until they come back into the office for a follow-up. So they came back into the office for a follow-up about 2 months later, because that's the earliest appointment that they could get. And when I rechecked them, neither one of them had cancer anymore.
Wow.
But we confirmed in the interim that they both had cancer, because we did a CEA blood test in him, which was elevated, and he was not a smoker, so he refused to do a colonoscopy because it looked like he had colon cancer. And the woman had energetic evidence of lymphoma in her retroperitoneum, and she did agree to a SPECT gallium scan, which confirmed the lymphoma in her retroperitoneum.
Wow.
And when we repeated those tests, they were both normal.
Wow.
Let's see
Amazing.
here. I think somewhere there's the canopy I wanted you to see.
Yeah.
So a lot of people buy the canopy on the right because it's cheaper. It's still about $350 or $400, but most people that get inside of that canopy say, "Oh, I feel claustrophobic. I can't sleep in here." So they end up, trading that one in for the one on the left, which is I call a box canopy. It can either be draped over high footboard headboard, or it can be suspended from the ceiling from 4 hooks in the ceiling. Actually, in this case, six hooks. And so when you go to sleep at night, those panels on the side are released and let down, so that there's a complete enclosure inside the bed, just like a mosquito net out in the jungle to try to prevent being bitten by mosquitoes. But if your bed is not on the first floor, you have to have a cloth on the floor that the cloth from the ceiling touches, so that you have a complete enclosure, because you don't want the EMF from below to come up through the floor into the enclosure above that, and bounce around multiple times before it finally exits, and that would be devastating to the health. All right, sorry, I can just get rid of that.
Very good. Very good. I know that when we did the M3 Detox Experience, this was something that was so important. You mentioned this repetition. It was repetition because, sometimes we need to hear things 7, 8, 9, 10 times before we actually take action. You really have pierced my heart today in many ways because, although I know this, and this is something that I want to do, I stopped myself from doing it. And the reason why is that I you don't see it, it's out of sight, out of mind. But today's class has been as a reminder of what is important. And I know that ever since I moved to Cocoa, we had a house there. There was a train that would go by, and it would wake me up every so often. So I thought it was a train waking me up. But if I really think about it, I wonder if it was my alarm clock next to me, if it was my television in the room. And so those are the things that we can do, that we can change, that doesn't cost us a penny. So if you're saying, well, how much is that canopy over a king size bed? It might require some savings, but will removing some of the electronics from the bedroom, turning off the breaker, will that help someone at least until they can get the protective covering that they need?
It might. Yeah, it depends on how much contribution they're getting from low frequency EMF, which is coming from the things that you can disable by turning off the breakers in your breaker box.
Mm-hmm.
But if most of the electropollution is coming from high frequency, like the Wi-Fi from your neighbors, the radio frequency burglar alarm from your neighbors, the electric smart meter from your neighbors, the cordless phone, all those things are coming from your neighbors. Unless you have a really good relationship with your neighbors, they're probably not going to turn all their stuff off before you go to bed at night.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so with that in mind, we've got to do something because, hearing all this, for those of you who are watching or listening on podcasts, you're welcome to come to whenyouneedafriend.com or go to my social media or BitChute and Odyssey. Check out the videos, the pictures that he posted, Dr. Lee Cowden posted. And yes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And that is amazing what happens to the rat's brain. Or let's start with the children. This has been a big concern of mine, Dr. Lee. Maybe word of advice to parents who have children with their phones, and now it's 2-year-olds and 1-year-olds that know how to swipe left, swipe right, go up, go down, press on, step up. They know how to do this, and I see them at dinner time with their iPads and their phones, the parents are having dinner, they're enjoying their conversation, and the kids are glued to the iPad or the phone. What is your word of advice to them?
Well, Steve Jobs, who is the inventor and developer of the Apple iPhone, which is one of the most popular phones on the planet right now, would not allow his children to use a cell phone until they were in their teenage years. Okay, would not. And but Steve Jobs died of pancreatic cancer, which could have been induced by his continuous exposure to high frequency electropollution. We don't know. Mm-hmm. My wife developed pancreatic cancer in 1989, and it was not from electropollution because we were living out in the country at that time. It was from, pesticides and herbicides and heavy metals from the mercury amalgams in her teeth, and profound sadness related to the loss of her mother. So there was a lot of other contributors, but cancer sometimes is caused by electropollution, and the types of cancer that you get from electropollution, the most common one is acoustic neuroma, which is a cancer in the right in through here in the brain area. But you can get glioblastoma multiforme, which is a highly malignant brain tumor, and it's the people that die with that condition have a miserable existence for the last several months of their life. Absolutely miserable existence. So it's just not a good way to go. Pick a different way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's sad because we don't see it. It's out of sight, out of mind. And if anything, this class today has put a level of urgency, and I hope that it's given level of urgency to everybody. And I remember the tub that used to show us during the M3 Detox Experience, which, by the way, you can still get it at whenyouneedafriend.com. The tub with mud in it, you know, and the dirty water that's going in it, and how it's important to pull the plug in the tub, and you can't have more dirt in the tub and without having the clean water. You got to unplug it, you got to get rid of it so that the clean water will fill our vessel, which is our body. And when we have more, when our body is attuned to health, when we clean it up and when we do the things that we need to do, if we get zapped here and there, it doesn't cost us as much as if we're living in a polluted environment, toxic environment, and that one little zap can cost us our health. That one little zap can cost us, our livelihood. So with that in mind, what are some of the smaller things? You talked about unplugging electronics around the bedroom, especially when you're sleeping, because what I'm hearing you say today is that sleep is the most controllable aspect of turning down the electropollution. And sleep, when people have lack of sleep, it causes dis-ease in the body. And so I see the connection more than ever before. So let's talk about that improving of sleep. What are some of the other things that we can do, now, little by little, to get to that optimal protection that you're talking about?
Yeah, well, a lot of people think, well, I sleep all night long, but I wake up exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why do they wake up exhausted? Because they're sleeping shallow sleep, phase 2 sleep, rather than delta wave sleep, the one where your brain wave gets down to 0.1 to 3 cycles per second. I can guarantee you that if you're exposing yourself to electropollution during the night, you're not getting delta wave sleep. Now, here's another very important aspect to that. When you do get delta wave sleep at night, followed by REM sleep, which is the dream sleep, you get a healing of your energetic vortices, which the Ayurvedic doctors call chakras. And so that causes, when you get the appropriate amount of sleep, dream sleep especially, you get clockwise spinning of the energetic vortices of your body. There's 7 primary energetic vortices. If those vortices are not spinning clockwise, all 7 of them, then you can't get a recharging of your organs during the day when you do muscular activity. So every day our organs get recharged by physical activity. So that's why couch potatoes age faster and die sooner. Okay, one of the reasons. Okay, but if you do physical activity every day with your arms and your legs, not just one or the other, then you will have a piezoelectric recharging of your acupuncture meridians that run through those muscles, which go to the organs, and that recharges the organs so that they can stay vital and healthy. And if you don't do that, it doesn't happen. Now, the Chinese figured out that there's a organ clock, with a 2-hour period each day when a particular organ system will detoxify itself and regenerate itself. Now, the endocrine system is one of the systems that plays out first in humans in the United States. Okay. And the endocrine system detoxifies itself between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. if and only if you're soundly asleep. Okay, that means delta wave sleep. So if you're not in delta wave sleep during 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., then your endocrine system, your hormonal system, is going to degenerate faster. And the endocrine system regulates all the other systems of the body. So all the other systems are going to also degenerate because you haven't taken care of your endocrine system between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m., being sound asleep in a EMF shielded environment during the night. Between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. is when your gallbladder and bile ducts detoxify. And if your gallbladder and bile ducts don't detoxify, the toxins that should have been dumped by them into the intestine, that doesn't happen. And so those toxins back up into your liver and poison overload your liver. Your liver is your most important detoxification organ of the body. So because you're not getting deep, healing, restful sleep, the liver and gallbladder are not working the way they're supposed to. And so the physical toxins back up in your body and poison your body. So EMF caused that also. Okay. Again, as I said, the liver is supposed to detoxify between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. if and only if you're soundly asleep in delta wave sleep with the parasympathetic dominance that we talked about earlier. Okay. So the most important hours of the night to be asleep are 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Now, if you extend that to 5 a.m., then that's the time that the lung detoxifies. If you live in a city, you're getting exposed to polluted air. So your filter, your lungs become the filter to get that pollution out of the air of your home. We know that the air inside the home is at least 5 times more toxic than the air outside the home. Okay. So, and that's because of the formaldehyde that's in the air from the outgassing of the carpet padding and from the outgassing of the particle board furniture that you have in your house, and also from the outgassing of the benzene, xylene, and toluene from the wall paints and the adhesives in your house, and so on and so on and so on. So you want to switch over to non-toxic cleaners in your house, get rid of the carpet padding under your carpet, and make sure that your carpet is not outgassing formaldehyde. Some carpets have formaldehyde also. So your best flooring is not carpet. It's it's a hardwood flooring that you lay down, snap together, not glue to the floor, but snap it together. And so then there's no chemicals outgassing from the glue to hold your flooring down. And yeah, so there's lots of things you could do for your health that are on the chemical side that are also important. But if you have to pick between those things and doing something for electropollution, I would say do something for electropollution while you sleep. So the canopy, in my opinion, is one of the most life-saving devices that has ever been invented.
Very good. Very good.
If you live in a city or town.
So we have about 3 minutes left before we need to go. And I would love to close by, we know that an emotional component that could cause a lot of stress in the body and cause disease as well. And I know that you have your way of stopping a heart attack or a stroke. Well, let's talk about the heart attack, because I know the DMSO and all of that helps with that. But you were talking about your thumb and is it your 2 fingers? That's it. I was trying to think real fast.
Yeah. So that it doesn't matter what the cause of the stress is, whether it's electropollution or chemical stress or microbiological stress or structural stress or mental emotional stress. Using your right hand to hold your left index and thumb, laying that in your lap, taking deep breaths in through the nose, hold for 1 second to expand the air sacs of your lungs, and then with your eyes closed, you picture yourself in a place in nature, and you remember that place with all of your senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. And you do that for 4 minutes before every meal time and 4 minutes before every bedtime. Then you'll actually be reducing the stress as you go. Stress ramps up during the course of the day, so it just gets higher and higher and higher. But if you do the stress reduction technique, first time you do it, drops it way back down, almost to the baseline that you had when you first woke up in the morning. And then it ramps up again, and you drop it back down. It ramps up again, drop it back down. So it never gets to the point where it's suppressing your immune system and damaging your stomach lining and so on. High levels of cortisol are damaging to the stomach lining and prevent you from having enough hydrochloric acid, enough digestion of proteins, enough absorption of amino acids, all that kind of stuff. But this will help that a lot. Now, if you're going to stop a heart attack, you're holding your left pinky finger, okay, in your lap while you deep breathe in through the nose, warm up the air, expand the lungs for a second before you breathe out, and then breathe out, and keep breathing that way as you visualize yourself in a nice relaxing place in nature. If you want to stop an asthmatic attack, you're going to hold your middle finger and touch your lung point right here below your collarbone on the left. So
you're the left hand.
You're going to be holding your left middle finger and be touching your left lung point at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so you stick out the index and thumb, index and middle finger. Now, now that you're holding your middle finger, stick out your right index and right middle finger and use that to touch your chest. Stick out your right index finger and right middle finger.
This is my right.
That's your right.
Okay.
Yeah. Grab your middle finger. No, you're doing it wrong. You were doing it right to start with. Use your right hand. No, to go back to where you were. Use your
to my
right
left
hand.
finger. Okay, to my left finger.
Yeah. Now stick out your index finger and middle finger on the right hand. No, right hand.
Oh,
your right hand. Throw a rock. Throw a rock.
And what do I do next? We gotta go.
Okay.
We gotta go.
Now, when you stick out your middle finger and index finger from the right hand, you don't take your finger, the ring finger and little finger that were wrapped around your middle finger and take them away. You keep them wrapped around your middle finger.
I'm confused because I'm looking at the time. We're gonna have to pause this, but I'm gonna learn how to do this after we're done here because I want to make sure that this airs today. Dr. Lee Cowden, I'm like a little puppy that wants to be trained how to stop an asthmatic attack because as a child I've had asthma as a child, but because of doctors like you and all the healers that I've learned from in the classroom, I am medication free for asthma. I take vitamin C, Lobelia, and now I want to learn this technique. But because I'm reverse, what you see as my left is my right, and so on. And so, but we're going to learn this together, and we're going to teach it later on. So here's the outcome. This is my middle finger. This is my right hand. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to pull out these two fingers and I'm going to go to 2 inches below my clavicle bone. Did I get this right now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Okay.
You're welcome.
And then I'm going to breathe in. This is how you stop an asthma attack. So I'm going to be using this if I ever need it. Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. You're the best. Thank you. Dr. Lee, thank you so much. I want all of you to go to Dr. Lee, that's drleecowden.com, to learn more of what he's doing to help the world be a safer and better place. Dr. Lee, thank you so much for everything that you do, and I'm looking forward to maybe having you next month so you can share some more. Maybe I'll be mastering the asthma approach to my lungs and life. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Lee Cowden wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Good job.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert.